Pablo Escobar did not just change the face of Colombia, he altered its very soul. Imagine a figure so powerful that he challenged not just the government but reshaped the lives of millions. A man whose empire thrived on ineffable wealth and maddening violence, leaving a mark that persists even decades after his demise. So, who was this man, and how did he rise to become a central figure in the narrative of Colombia? This is the story of Pablo Escobar, and by the end of this narration, you might have a different perspective on not just the drug trade, but also the fabric of Colombian society. Born on December 1, 1949, in the humble town of Rio Negro, Pablo Escobar was not born into success. His early years were marked by poverty, but they also sprinkled with ambition. You might be wondering how a boy from a farming family in the lush Antioquia region would go on to become not only one of the richest men of his time, but also a notorious figure in criminal history. At what point did ambition turn into a ruthless pursuit of power? Escobar grabbed his first taste of illegal profit by engaging in petty crime in his teens, from stealing gravestones to selling contraband cigarettes. But it wasn't until he recognized the potential in the booming cocaine industry of the 1980s that he truly found his calling. What comes next will leave you speechless. By cultivating relationships with Colombian farmers and utilizing the vast, untouched lands available, he created a cocaine empire that spanned continents, flooding the streets of the United States with powder and driving the world into a frenzy. In mere years, he evolved from a small-time criminal into the kingpin of a global narcotics trade worth billions. One shocking fact is that, at his height, Escobar was reportedly earning over $70 million a day. Such unimaginable wealth allowed him to live a lifestyle that most could only dream of. He bought luxury properties, cars, and could easily afford anything money could buy. But beyond the luxury lay layers of complexity. Escobar was known for his philanthropy within his community. He built housing, schools, and sports complexes in some of Colombia's poorest neighborhoods. Fascinatingly, this earned him a level of loyalty among his people that was almost cult-like. So, how did he garner this support while simultaneously instilling fear across the nation? His dual existence as both a beloved local hero and a fearsome criminal mastermind created a unique dynamic. You might be surprised to learn that many viewed him as a Robin Hood figure, a savior fighting against the oppressive government while providing for the downtrodden. This paradox raises poignant questions. Is it possible to reconcile the good with the evil in Escobar's legacy? But make no mistake, with immense wealth came ruthless tactics. Escobar's Medellin cartel became notorious not just for its production but for its violent methods. To eliminate competition and deter law enforcement, Escobar did not hesitate to employ acts of terrifying brutality. The phrase plata o plomo, or silver or lead, became a chilling trademark of his reign. It was a straightforward ultimatum given to officials faced with the choice of accepting bribes or facing violence. This led to countless murders and bombings, including the devastating 1989 bombing of a commercial airliner, which killed over 100 people. You may wonder if even he understood the extent to which he was transforming his country into a battlefield. As Colombia spiraled into chaos, the United States began to take note. The Colombian government, overwhelmed by the scale of Escobar's criminal empire, sought assistance. With the Americans came strategies, and agents. But as you'll soon discover, this intertwining of U.S. intervention and Escobar's operations further complicated the situation, introducing new players in the ongoing battle and ushering in a wave of violence and counter-violence that would shape Colombia for years. However, it is crucial to recognize that this story is not solely about violence. It is about the ripple effect of Escobar's actions. For every cartel member or rival he eliminated, countless others suffered as innocent victims caught in the crossfire. You might be surprised to learn that the Colombian society began to fracture under the weight of fear and violence. Neighbors turned against each other, families were torn apart, and the very fabric of society began to unravel. Thousands of families were displaced, and cities became war zones. The everyday citizen, struggling to make ends meet, had become an unwilling participant in Escobar's grand play of power. In response to this growing violence, a unique set of protagonists began to emerge. The Colombian National Police, with figures like Colonel Hugo Martinez and the legendary Search Bloc, sprang into action. They were tasked with bringing down Escobar. Each step they took felt like a game of chess, starkly contrasting with Escobar's aggressive tactics. But their efforts were fraught with challenges, and the stakes were immeasurably high. They faced not just Escobar but also the stark reality of a population that felt abandoned and afraid, forced to navigate a labyrinth of loyalty, fear, and survival. Amidst this chaos, Escobar's grip on power began to diminish. In 1991, he made a strategic move, turning himself in, bargaining for a favorable prison sentence where he would build his own luxury jail, La Catedral, a place that resembled more of a vacation resort than a prison. A surprising twist. He continued to run his empire from behind bars, proving that even incarceration could not tame a kingpin. How did this happen, and what does it reveal about the nature of power, law, and governance in Colombia? This temporary appeasement was, however, short-lived. The government realized too late the kind of monster it had inadvertently fed. Shocking as it may seem, it wasn't long before Escobar's deceit became known, and in 1992, a full-scale manhunt was launched. The Search Bloc intensified their pursuit, employing cutting-edge technology and tactics to track down the most wanted man on the planet. You might be wondering how a country reeling from violence could unite against a singular foe. The days turned into months, and each step taken by the authorities amped up the tension between Escobar and the Colombian government. In an unexpected twist, Escobar was forced into a fugitive lifestyle. What must it have been like for a man who once wielded control over an entire city, now reduced to hiding on rooftops and in abandoned houses? The weight of his empire, once a source of invincibility, turned into a heavy burden, leading to his eventual downfall. On December 2, 1993, after a violent pursuit that gripped the imagination of the nation and the world, Escobar was finally cornered and killed in Medellin. The reaction across Colombia was one of mixed emotions. Some celebrated his death, while others mourned the loss of a local hero. It's a striking reflection of the complex legacy he left behind. Was Escobar a villain or a victim of circumstances? Did he embody the struggles of the society around him, or was he merely a monster of his own creation? In the wake of his death, Colombia faced a long battle of recovery, grappling with deep-seated issues of violence, poverty, and corruption that Escobar had aggravated. It would take years for the country to address the trauma that reverberated throughout society, but did his reign also ignite a sense of resilience among the Colombian people? As Colombia moved toward healing, its narrative began to shift. The emergence of new leaders, anti-narcotics operations, and the pursuit of police reform marked the start of what many could only hope would be a new chapter. How do you rebuild after such devastation, and what can Colombia teach us about resilience and transformation? In examining the impact of Escobar, we cannot overlook the influence that his story has had on popular culture. Numerous documentaries, movies, and series have attempted to depict his life, altering perceptions and perhaps even romanticizing crime in the process. The rise of Netflix's Narcos and other media depicts not only Escobar's life but the turmoil of a nation caught in the throes of drug violence. part of what they capture is the curiosity and the allure surrounding the infamous figure. But do they do justice to those who suffered because of his reign? As we reflect on the aftermath of Escobar's empire, it becomes clear that this narrative is not merely about one man's impact, but also about how that impact has shaped the identity of a nation. Colombia has seen resurgence, with vibrant culture, stunning landscapes, and resilient people working together for a better future. Daring to look beyond the scars, one can almost sense an unyielding spirit rising from the shadows of the past. Is it possible that in a society forever marked by violence and loss, the story of Pablo Escobar may somehow play a role in fostering change? Ultimately, Pablo Escobar's legacy is a multifaceted one, filled with contradictions that encapsulate the struggle of a nation. He was a figure that represented not just the drug trade but an entire ecosystem of social, economic, and political complexities, making us question preconceived notions of good and evil. Today, the face of Colombia is that of resilience, unearthing hope from the ruins of despair. As we ponder the complexities of Escobar's influence, a reminder of the fine line between heroism and villainy, it invites us to consider how we define power, freedom, and accountability. In examining the life of Pablo Escobar, we come to understand a poignant truth. While one man can indeed change the fate of a nation, it is the collective spirit of the people, their fight for justice, and their search for dignity that ultimately shapes the destiny of an entire country. And so, as we traverse through the echoes of history, may we remain ever curious about how the legacy of the past continues to inform our present and future.